Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We'll go in about 30 seconds.
I can see your lips moving.
Oh, can you not hear us? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1,
Everybody
2,
had a
1, 2,
fabulous weekend.
1, 2. Can you hear us? 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. We won't be going unless you can hear us. Hi. Yeah. Hello? Hello?
Maybe she thought we were going.
Hello? I don't think she can hear us.
Can you hear us?
Hello? Room service.
It'd be nice if I could hear you.
Hey, let me
Can
flop
you
your
not hear
pillow.
us?
Hold on, I believe it's on my end.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is.
We can hear you though.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Awesome.
Mm-mm.
No?
Can't hear
No?
you.
Oh no.
No?
Monday morning
Okay,
retrograde.
I'm getting audio.
Hi.
Blake?
Hello. 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 Hello.
No,
Hello.
can't hear you.
Hear us?
Hello.
Can you double check on your end for me? Just double check.
We're good. We're
No?
good.
No
We're
channels?
good. We're good.
Channels on.
Channel's on. We're sending audition.
You sure?
Yeah.
It's Mercury retrograde.
True story. Hello. Hello.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
1, 2, 3.
Am I supposed to be hearing you yet?
1, 2. Hey.
Nope.
No. Hey. Hey. Now. Hi. Hey.
My volume's definitely turned up.
Good body. Good morning. Good morning.
And I'm on the right speaker.
Good morning.
And I still can't hear you.
Very weird, wild stuff.
Nope, can't hear you. Your mic on this end is fine. You're not muted.
Control panel.
I'm on the right microphone.
Mix. Sound. 1, 2. Hey.
No.
1, 2. Hey.
No, I can't hear you.
Multi-channel. Hello. 1, 2. Hey.
Maybe jump in and out again.
All right.
Sometimes that helps, folks. Just leave and come back. Let's see what happens. So, let me see what beautiful people are up and at 'em. I could swear I just saw a mosquito in here somewhere. Good morning, Evelyn. One little bit of rain. Looks like we might have a rainy day today. Aha. Let me see. I heard that go bloop. Let's see.
Hello.
Hello. Now I can hear you.
Yay!
Just in time to go. Right now. Quick.
There we go.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Darren's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Blake. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Morning.
Hope you had a great weekend.
It was fabulous. Thank you.
Good. Excellent.
What's been going on?
Yeah.
Well, quite a bit actually. Friday was full of all sorts of announcements. So let's get straight into it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I heard announcements on Friday. What happened?
COVID-19 vaccines are now available for vulnerable children. Well, available soon. Let me make sure.
Yes, I did see
it's
that.
coming.
Okay.
They've not set an exact date, but if your child has any list of things that make them immunocompromised or vulnerable, including chronic respiratory disease, chronic heart conditions, conditions of the kidney, liver, digestive system, and many others, you can certainly speak to the Health Services Authority and probably public health about whether or not they're eligible. So ages 5 to 11, and also those in the same age group who are living with vulnerable or immunocompromised individuals who qualify. So it's a little bit broader than just the children. Like if you're living with a granny who's, immunocompromised, that would put you in that category as well.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, so we'll delve into that a little bit later on. From the Office of the Premier on Friday as well, there was a little bit more information about the COVID regulations continue to be extended. And, he just wanted to assure people that he is working hard to address this issue of isolation in children. But for now, the control and management of COVID-19 regulations, the consolidated version, which, they're every time they change it, they put an expiration date, right? So it's now extended to January the 24th as they continue to work to address the concerns around isolation and quarantine periods and children.
Okay. I mean, they could just drop it.
They could just drop it, and you could LFT your children.
Yeah.
They're looking at a few. They did mention that they're looking at a few proposals, including ages 0 to 11 taking the vaccination status of their accompanying parent. So that would be interesting.
I think that's definitely what they
Great
should
idea.
do. Yeah. We did tests on both kids this morning, and they were both negative. Sent them to schools at both schools, there's positive people that are now in quarantine. And
yeah, I don't see the difference.
We just LFT'd them, sent them to school. But if we would have flown in, they would be indoors, stuck inside, not able to go anywhere, even if they're negative. But they can't go to a school where they were. Anyway, it just doesn't make sense.
I don't see the difference. Yeah.
So basically, the bottom line there is you're moving to phase 5.
Yeah.
So don't count.
Which is good.
Okay. Phase 5 is dropping everything, right?
Well, he says
again,
towards phase
you're
5.
You're gonna get COVID from the testing sites more than you are from traveling.
I agree with you.
So speaking of testing sites, that's our next update. Anyone who's doing voluntary COVID testing should remember that they're going to have to pay for it. So on Friday, Cabinet actually issued a directive that those providers may now require payment from individuals and businesses to engage in voluntary testing. So the government is no longer going to pick up the tab, basically. If it's required for public health purposes to exit isolation or quarantine, or PCR confirmation of a positive lateral flow test, the government will be paying for those. So just make sure you know.
If you report it. Most people aren't reporting the positives anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't want to be stuck inside.
That's it.
If they, for longer than, because people I know people that they didn't show up, 3 days after their quarantine time was over. So people are just, unfortunately, they really need to think this through.
Yeah, I mean, non-compliance has always been obviously an issue from the onset, and non-compliance doesn't mean that you give in to the people who are willing to non-comply. I mean, look at what's happening in Australia with the Australian Open, right?
Well, I get it, but I see it differently. I see people, which is kind of what you want to see, what the government wants. You see people learning to live with COVID
and doing the right thing on their own,
and that's what you want.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
So just an FYI, we always have people reach out to us about items that are lost. Sometimes it's dogs and birds and all sorts of stuff. But over the weekend, we had 2 separate individuals who actually lost their hearing aids. One girl is deaf, and she has lost her implant in the area of the beach by the Westin. So her parent is asking, as well as the other individual who was in the vicinity, I think, of the Kimpton, that if you see anything that looks like a hearing aid, these 2 look very, very different. But if you see anything that looks like them, we post them on social media. To please just keep an eye out for any device that might be sitting in the sand or in the ground, because apparently it's very expensive.
They're very expensive.
Yeah, to get refitted.
That's hard to find.
Sad.
Yeah.
So. I remember, this is nothing like that. I remember I lost my retainer once. I was younger. Had to go through the garbage.
Yeah.
Threw it out.
I think every kid that had a retainer went through the garbage at least once.
Yeah, and it's like, now I have to put it in my mouth.
Yeah. Well, you wash it.
I had a headgear too at one point.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
Oh, that's kind of cute, Aaron.
No.
Yeah. No headgear.
So,
Little girl in a headgear. Do they even do that anymore? Oh,
Oh, poor thing.
I know. Well,
and Friday was also announced that we had our 15th COVID-related death. And we lost a member of the BRAC community. And yesterday morning, it was announced that number one from the BRAC, he's very famous for calling into another radio program saying, hey, it's number one from the BRAC. He has passed away as well, Mr. Dolan Hunter. So condolences go out to everyone and part of our Cayman BRAC family and friends.
Now,
he was a bit of a radio call-in personality, you know?
What does COVID-related mean? Was he in for something else?
No, that's not him. So let me clarify. That's somebody else from Friday.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, on this particular individual, we don't have any details, but normally it just means that it's going to be listed on the death certificate and the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it definitely doesn't have to be that. Number 14, she, had COVID. She was asymptomatic and she died, but it's still COVID related because she was positive at time of death.
Yeah.
But in actuality, she was like 87, diabetic, bedridden, had other issues really. So it wasn't the COVID that probably did anything to her. But we do know that COVID will spread. Well, yeah, I was going to say, we've definitely learned from research around the world that even if COVID isn't the primary concern, that it will kind of
contribute,
escalate your demise a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Sandy.
So, there you go. Yeah, folks. So lots of things moving and jiggling in the world of news.
All right, catch CMR right now, Cayman Road on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll get your headlines for tomorrow at 7:20. We'll see you then.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
And soon to be on radio. I'm so excited. We're getting there. We're getting there. Pure excitement. I think most of you who listen to the program on a regular basis will continue to do so in this format, but I am aware that some people are not able to stream, especially if they're driving to work. I've heard this comment a lot, that people who are driving in, need to have access to radio because they don't have data. I keep telling y'all, you need to call Flo because you can get your get yourself a nice unlimited data plan for a very reasonable price, actually, I must say. So yes, in that event, you will soon have an option of listening to us in your drive time. Not exciting. So let me just check in my WhatsApp folks for the day. I'm sending them the links to tune into the program. And then we're going to break down and go through, as part of our Monday Rewind segment, all of the things that happened over the weekend. So I felt like the other day was the weekend as a whole, especially on Friday, was very, very busy with press releases. Everything was like, choo, 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 like 10 minutes, everything was coming in. So good morning to the beautiful Irvlyn. Olivia's got it locked. Wee Wee is always here. Wee Wee says nice weather. Yes, that's a little bit of overcast. I feel like we are going to be getting some rain. And, we had a little bit of rain last night as well, I noticed. So, yeah, that's okay. You would never appreciate the sunshine without the rain. Trust me on that. So I'm a person who doesn't actually mind the rain at all. Verdict judgment is for Tuesday. Yes, I got to be in court tomorrow. Yeah, so I enjoy the rain, and I got to tell you, especially if you can stay inside. I think rain is does the body good when you can just stay inside instead of having to deal with running up and down in this weather. But yeah, all good. Aliano's got it locked in. Robert, thank you for joining us. Virtuous Ebanks Panook is here. Leroy, good morning. Says that we had a good rain. Yeah, I think a lot of people enjoyed the change in weather. I saw some people last week posting about how cold it was. And I thought to myself, oh, is that a fly? No. I thought to myself, it wasn't really that cold. Like, I think it was like 69. Some people, their temperature said 66 or whatever. I never felt 66 degrees outside. But okay, Miami's looking at a low 73 or 63 today. So yeah, actually, North America has been hit by a bit of a cold front. So that explains some of the weather that we're getting as well. Good morning to James joining us from Canada. Louis got it locked. Hello, happy Monday to Scott. We got Jake. Jake, you need to pick up your Christmas giveaway special. It's still waiting for you. I know you've been vacationing all this time. 22 degrees and cloudy in Detroit. Ooh, now that's cold. Chantel, good morning. Comment here that you need to WhatsApp me so I can call you by your first name, because this Arabic writing is like, ooh, I don't know what that says. Says they got big prices on the COVID testing. Well, I don't know what they're going to price it at, but hopefully they'll be mindful of not making it overly pricey. Good morning to Siobhan. How are you? So good to see you. So you guys know that it's Monday, and what we do on Mondays, we recap everything that happened over the weekend. And that's why we call it our Monday Rewind.
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Truth's Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind.
Rewind.
Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
All right, folks. So that's Monday Rewind. And guess what? The schedule might be shifting a little bit because, as you guys know, we are going on radio, if all goes well, next month. Super excited. I heard some competitors shaking in their boots a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, our 3-day-a-week talk show is going to have some competition from Sandy. Well, you know, don't worry about the competition is all I can tell you. Keep the eye on the ball for yourself because we're coming regardless, right? So lots of very interesting times in the world of media. We're going to talk about that here as well. But I was just saying that we might be shifting the schedule around slightly because, you know, if we've got people are going to want to purchase segments on the talk show, more so now that we're going to be in radio than ever before. So if you have a small business, a medium business, or even a big business, and you want to get the word out there, you know Cayman's #1 talk show. We're already the #1 talk show in the Cayman Islands, but now we're coming to traditional radio. And I can tell you what, it's going to be hot. It's going to be like a good hot cake, hot tamale. So yes, I'm going to find out about that testing question. Let me ask somebody in insurance and they can tell us. Sorry. So, yep, it's going to be hot, 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 hot. I'm so excited about it. You know, at first I was a little lukewarm when the idea, people kept asking me when we went to doing the Daily Show after the lockdown, I'd see people like, oh, you're going to be on radio. I was like, radio, that's for old people. But there's a lot of elderly people in the community who love listening to talk radio. And it's not just for old people. There are a lot of times, especially during drive time, like I said earlier, you just don't have data on your phone. and you want to tune in, you want to jump in the car, and you're stuck in the car for an hour anyway, especially from the Eastern districts, headed into town with the kids and everything. And so you want to tune in. So yes, good morning, Alana. Miss Beulah's here. Alana says doctors, hospitals is 150, Health City is 125, and Total Health is 125. Interesting pricing indeed. And I think that sounds about right, though, because when I consider what they charge in the US for PCR tests, I want to say that's even more than that, especially if it's traveling and they know that you desperately need it. They're going to charge you what they can get. I've heard upwards of $200 in the US for travel purposes. So let's see how many will be getting tested. Government looking to get back their money of the people. Well, they're not getting it back because they're not the ones charging you. They're talking about private facilities doing so. But I think that at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. The government has spent an enormous amount of money because of the COVID pandemic that would not have been projected if the COVID pandemic never happened. And so we have to be realistic about what that means for not just the government, but for us. I keep saying this. There's two principal things that I think the people of Cayman Islands need to recognize in a hurry. Number one, nothing is free. Nothing is free. You pay for it one way or the other. And number two, so literally there are no free meals. I know y'all think you're getting a free meal with your kids and you're not paying for it directly, but somebody's paying for it somewhere along the line. And oftentimes it is reflected in the cost of other things, right? So be cautious believing that you can get a free meal in life, because there really is no such thing as a free meal. The other thing, of course, is that, government has spent a lot between the tourism stipend, all the protocols that are necessary. Entirely new departments have been set up because of this COVID situation. And so if you don't think that you're going to feel the crunch of that in a hurry, let me assure you that you will. So somebody's asking about Heroes Day. Not a word. I've literally not seen anything go out on Heroes Day. It is a little bit peculiar, to be honest. I feel like they're waiting in the last minute. Does that mean that they actually don't want y'all to show up? Maybe they just want you to watch it online, so they don't want to tell you much about it in advance. So I understand that HSA is going to be charging as well. Someone asked them what's up about coverage for insurance purposes, and I have gotten that from a horse's mouth in the insurance industry, and they said good morning. Testing is only covered if it's medically necessary, which is situations such as being admitted into the hospital or needing a surgical procedure. Testing for travel is only medically necessary if the person is being flown out via air ambulance and not had a test prior to hospital admission. So those are the circumstances under which you would be able to get PCR coverage for under your insurance policy. So in other words, they're going to pay for it for you. So listen, one of the things I was actually doing over the weekend was a bit heavy for me in terms of like research. And of course, because we're going to be going on radio, like I said, I know a lot of you sit here and you listen to the program, and if we were in radio, you'd call in, which I don't know what the difference is. Like you can literally click on a link now and call in, and you don't have to show your face. Like there's an option to turn the camera off and you can participate. It's really, really easy, but I know y'all are shy or whatever. So I think a lot of you will use you'll want to use a traditional phone format. So I've been looking at options of how to make that possible, because the show is still streaming, right? So we need to look at essentially how to make it possible for you to call into the program. And people will hear you on the podcast stream as well as the radio stream. Well, we do have a solution, actually. Yay. Yeah, so the solution includes having to purchase some equipment. Now, I always tell y'all another life lesson. I feel like this could be, I don't know that Aunt Lottie ever said this, but she would definitely tell you this if she was still around, and she was in the world of business, is that in order to make money, you have to spend money. It's one of the basic principles of business. Nobody ever makes money and they never spend money. You got to spend money on all sorts of different things in the world of business, marketing and other stuff, right? Equipment. So this is one of the things that we're going to be looking at in terms of ordering some equipment. So it ain't cheap, but we're going to put our little coins together and yep, it's a little bit of a specialty piece of equipment that will allow us to take phone calls. And we are actively working on, we'll be able to take phone calls through a mobile device. So I'm actually looking for a sponsor who will sponsor a line, hopefully a toll-free line. Now, is there such a thing as a toll-free mobile line? I hope that they exist, because in my brain, that should be a thing. But you know how it is. Sometimes technology takes a minute to catch up to what's in your head. Guess what? We just hit the 200 mark for 200 people tuned into the program. Over 150 on Facebook. Now we're up to 203. And another 50 persons on the YouTube channel. We do stream to LinkedIn and Twitter, by the way, but humanity's not that much into LinkedIn or Twitter, to be honest. And I think most of you don't even know that there's a live stream there. So the HSA question, good morning to John. What? The flight didn't leave Cuba? Are you kidding me? No bueno. Caramba. Okay, HSA. From the horse's mouth, we have, they will be charging for any test that's not ordered by public health. So if it's not ordered by public health, of course, so someone says I'm very pixelated. Hold on a second. Let me just have a look. So that means that the quality isn't that great this morning. I need better. You know what I need? Flo, we need to talk. I need some better internet. I mean, I've got the best that was sort of available at the time in this area, but it seems like things have improved since then. So I need that 500 on the download, and no, it's like they have some super speeds now. 1,000 upload and 500 on the, no, I'm getting it reversed. 1,000 on the download and 500 on the upload. The upload speed is what is the real deal breaker for me. So let me just refresh. Thank you for pointing that out to me, to an astute viewer. Just hang tight. Hold on. Okay, let me know if that's any better. I'm going to refresh on this other screen as well. It could just be the connection today. I don't know. Is that any better? Do I look any better? I try to close out as many tabs as possible, just to make sure that there's nothing on the live that's interfering with it. Yeah, slightly. There's probably not much I can do today. That it probably means that it's something going on out of my hands. Let me see if there's anything else on the network. Because sometimes if there is something on the network using the upload speed, then I definitely can, it can impact the stream as well. I'm going to reach out to Float this morning. We're going to talk to them. So yes, that's why I need the fastest speeds possible, because streaming will take everything you got sometimes. Okay. All right, Aliana. Yes. We don't have, let me ask again, how much for HSA? Okay, so you're right about that, Alana. I think Leroy HSA is going to be 150. They'll probably be pretty competitive. Good morning, Diamond, Princess, Sapphire. Good morning, Miss Marjorie. Yes, her condolences go out to the Hunter family. It's so kind of weird because I mentioned his name in passing on Friday's show, and then to hear of his passing, you know, was kind of sad. So anyway, so I want to give a big shout out to an anonymous person. I was actually just asking them if they could assist me with getting this piece of equipment here. It's basically like a board. You know, in the world of radio, you have your radio boards and whatever. And it's like the modern day version of it. And, you know, like I said, it's not cheap. I mean, I guess it depends on what your budget is and what you consider cheap and whatever, but it's not 2 pennies, put it that way. It's more than a couple $100 for sure. And so this person said, yeah, no problem. They're going to be going up soon and they'd be happy to get it to me. Because, you know, when you need stuff quickly, my choices are AirPost or now that people are kind of going back and forth. If I have a friend who's going up and it's just like one piece of equipment, because I really don't like to inconvenience people. People are traveling. Big shout out to Iva, by the way. Iva is in Miami traveling. And she was so kind to allow me to send something up with her that needed to go to someone in Miami. So sometimes sending things the opposite direction, like getting stuff in, you're covered, you got AirPosts, you know, fantastic. But if you need something to go from Cayman to the US, even if it's in Florida, child, some of these other options are ridiculous. So Miss Iva just happened to have been going up over the weekend and she said that she'd be happy to take it for me. And she just dropped it in the mailbox. So thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. So this person just said, don't worry, I got you. And they just sent me the order confirmation. Oh my goodness, they're so amazing. They just ordered it for me. You know, I got to tell you the truth. Some people are just amazing like that, quite frankly. And this person is one of those people. They're like a little angel in the wings. I always find that when you're doing something that people, number one, enjoy and that's positive, and I'm going to talk to you guys about some negativity that's been floating around lately that has actually been making me a bit uncomfortable. Like part of me doesn't even want to talk about it, but I feel like we need to because I know you guys know what's happening in the community. And this show is all about covering everything that's happening in the community, right? So by ignoring it, I'm not really being authentic and true to this program because this is the cold, hard truth. But also, I don't want to give people attention that they're seeking, you know, because I know that that's what it's all about. Anyway, I'm going to get there. So yeah, I feel like when you're doing good things, like people will reach out to you in the most amazing way. Like I've had people reach out to me and say, you know, Sandy, oh, I want to help you with this, or I want to do this. I want to, you know, over Christmas, we were trying to help people with gift cards. And I had a number of people reach out. I want to help you. I've got some gift cards. You know, how can I get this to people during the holidays? And there was a young man who owns a local business and he gave out at least like 4 or so gift cards, maybe 5. And in one instance, the person who reached out, I don't even know who the recipient was ultimately, but the person who reached out on her behalf contacted me. She said, Sandy, she just called me crying. You have no idea how you have really made her holiday. And she just wanted to pass on the message to say thank you because, you know, without that gift certificate, her and her children would not have had like proper food. We're not talking about Christmas presents, like Foster's gift certificates. They would not have had proper food to even be able to you know, enjoy the Christmas season. So they were really, really super thankful for that. So I want to thank all of the wonderful beneficiaries that step up and help me to help, you know, with so much positivity and stuff out there. To continue spreading the help where we can. And we help people whenever and wherever we can, right? So sometimes I'm the recipient of that. Like this person just said, I got you. And they just ordered this equipment for me. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect that, you know, but they're just amazing like that. So thank you very, very much. And I'm always so grateful. I want to Aunt Lottie's pearls of wisdom again. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Y'all know what that means. When people do things for you, they don't have to do it. So you be thankful, you express gratitude, and you demonstrate gratitude. And I kind of feel like a lot of times people are so ungrateful. And I hate an ungrateful person. I use the word hate, but you know what I mean. I dislike an ungrateful person because it says something about their personality. On Thursday and Wednesday of last week, so my daughter has swimming lessons on Wednesday. You know, she's trying, by the way, making big strides. I noticed a humongous difference with the holiday break. She didn't go for a couple of weeks. I thought, oh God, it's going to be so hard to get her back into the routine and whatever. But she really made some, like I could notice there was a big jump in her ability. Like she was going under the water, you know, with the swimming instructor. She was kind of diving for stuff a little bit. So thank the Lord she is getting there with the whole swimming thing, because I want her to be a very good swimmer. We live in an island after all. And after swimming, she likes to go to a particular place to get a little treat, right? So we went there and a guy saw me and he's like, oh my gosh, Sandy, you helped find a dog over the holidays that had disappeared. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah, you know. And they're like, oh my gosh, you have no idea how appreciative we were. Somebody left the gate open and the dogs decided to leave. And he went, I think he was going down by the beach or something. I think these dogs get kind of tired of being in yards and looking at four corners of whatever. They want to see something different too. Take your dogs out. Take them for a drive. Make them see something. Take them to the beach. Make them swim in the ocean. Anyway, so he was like, thank you so much. And we stood up there and we talked for a minute. And then I was about to pay my bill. He's like, no, I got you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so kind of you. Oh, my gosh. So, yes, just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your kindness. Emma says that you can get tested at the airport for $150 and $90 US. Is this the airport in Cayman or elsewhere? She says prices are ridiculous. I think this is going to be a big deterrent for many. And those LFT tests are a joke, so inaccurate. So yes, let's talk about the LFT test. So essentially, good morning, Carmelie. So essentially what's going to happen is this. So let me just, child, like I said, there were so many, actually we have a video for that. Let me pull up the video. There were so many announcements on Friday. I felt like boom, 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 one after the next. They were just coming out, right? So the one in relation to the, oh, that's for South Sound Community Center. All right, so let me tell you what the LFT testing situation is. So they can charge for LFT testing. So naturally, if private facilities can do it, you would expect the HSA is going to be doing it as well. So we just confirmed that they will definitely be doing it. So providers can charge payment for individuals and businesses engaging in voluntary testing only when the public health department has required that testing take place, such as an isolation and exit quarantine, or you're not going to pay for it. So let's make sure that we understand what's going on here. So those people who would be reporting a positive lateral flow test and then need to exit and quarantine, they're not going to pay for that. So somebody else just said that, it's going to deter those people. Well, it shouldn't deter them because they're not paying for it. So that shouldn't be the deterrence, and it certainly should not be an excuse. And please remember that it's still an offense for you to not report a positive LFT test. Don't get yourselves in trouble over something that really is quite minor, right? And they are reducing, as we saw a couple of days ago, they are reducing the quarantine time as well, the isolation period, if you have tested positive, and you're able to move around a little bit more. So poor Carmelie, she has COVID. She is positive with COVID. That's why she's saying that she feels like she's going to die. The good news is you are vaccinated, right? So the chances of you dying are pretty slim. So I would say to just hang tight. Child, this too shall pass. But yes, it's rough for some people. There was a lady on Saturday who shared with me. Did you guys hear that? That she has now tested positive twice. Let me have you listen to that one. Hold on.
I'm down again with COVID. So this is the second time I'm getting COVID. I just wanted to just make people know that COVID is not a joke thing. And yes, you can get it more than one time because now it's the second time I have it. It has stressed me out, Miss Sandra. I just feel so depressed. um, it just stressful. Just wanted to know that I was in the hospital. I came out on Thursday. Was in the hospital from Monday. I came out on Thursday, but I'm in isolation now. So second time now I get it, and it really stressed me. But I'm holding on. Have a wonderful day, Mama, and may God continue to bless you and keep you.
Oh my gosh, poor thing. Getting COVID twice. Entirely possible, folks. First of all, she probably has Omicron this time because that is now the primary variant because it's spreading that quickly. And you know what? If you had Delta before, you get no protection from Delta now that Omicron is here. It's crazy, but there's just too many differences between the two variants for you to get any degree of protection. And even if you're vaccinated, if you've not gotten that booster, that's why they're saying the booster is so critical. If you've not gotten that booster, folks, you are at a higher risk of having to deal with another infection. And she sounds kind of rough there. She's like, oh. So, yes, honey child. No, sir. Richie Rich, happy birthday. Richard is celebrating a birthday today. Hopefully you're off of work and you're able to properly enjoy it. Ms. Margie is saying that there's a discount on mailboxes now if you're over 65. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Well, that's good news. You know, there's a lot of places around the world where seniors get a little break on different things. I was not aware of that, so I'll find out what the details are and how that works. But you know, even when you go to like the cinema or restaurants or whatever in the U.S., a lot of times if you show them your ID card and you're over 65, you can take advantage of a little senior discount program. So yes. Oh, okay. So we got gifts and all sorts of stuff, passports. I'll look into this because I didn't know that this courtesy was being extended to seniors. I know that for driver's licenses that had happened, but I wasn't aware of other such services. So if that is the case, then that is fantastic, actually. We need to get Minister of Finance on the program, Mr. Chris Saunders, because I think that this kind of falls more under his ministry, and he'd be able to tell us a bit more about all of the discounts and savings and stuff that have been extended to people, because this is wonderful. So yes, happy birthday to Richard. Miss Darlene says, morning, everyone. With no disrespect about tourism stipend or MPs, big fat salaries been burning your pockets for many, many years now. And the majority of them are deceitful, backstabbing, and know-it-all. And they make sure they take care of their mama, daddy, sisters, brothers, and their certain other family, friends, and constituents. I guess my question is, what's the point? I mean, that has been the position for donkey years, for as long as politicians have been in. They have always been getting kickbacks, and they have always been making a salary. And, you know, people don't necessarily get the salary. I'm not sure, Darlene, what's the point? We understand for sure that they're getting a salary. And some of them are, in fact, overpaid when you consider some qualifications that they're bringing to the table. I don't mind paying somebody that's qualified. Believe me, you. The other concern, though, Darlene, that I suppose one could easily argue, and this is an argument in the world of politics, is that if you don't pay them a decent salary, now your definition of decent might vary, but if you do not pay them a decent salary, they are more likely to be politicians that can be easily bought. So in other words, you give them $2,500 a month, that's chump change in Cayman, honestly. And so then you have people, companies, and others who can give them kickbacks that are worth way more than that. And so that will happen as a result. That will happen as a result of just how the game is played. So it is a little bit of an interesting conundrum for certain. I don't believe in underpaying politicians, and I don't necessarily believe in underpaying anybody. But I do think that you have to be realistic in terms of what you're getting. The other thing, to be fair, Darlene, is a lot of politicians might be making decent money, but a lot of that money goes back into the constituency with people asking for help. Every time you go to a politician, you ask a politician for help, where do you think they're getting it from? Right? So if you're not going through the channels of social services and that sort of thing, you go to a politician, they take money out of their pocket and they hand it. Say they get 50 people every month who need $300-400, plus they have their own bills to pay. You do kind of see the situation that they're placed in. And I know this for a fact. I'm not asking anybody this. I know that there are a lot of politicians who are not living a fab lifestyle, that they are teetering on, just living paycheck to paycheck like everybody else. And a large part of that is because they are so busy helping other people in their constituency. And that comes directly from their pay. In fact, the premier, Wayne Panton, does not take money from government, because the MPs do get allowance, like a salary for staff. So staff are paid from government and they're on government contracts, and then they can get an office space to rent and so forth. All of those expenses. So the premier has staff, people that work for him. He's actually paying for those out of his own pocket, which basically he's using the salary that he's making to cover. And I don't know if that covers everything or not, but to cover his expenses related to being a public servant. So he doesn't really take that salary. Now, y'all might not know that, but I'm telling y'all that for a fact. And I know hearsay. That's the cold, hard truth. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes we don't always know what people are doing with their money. So it's one thing to be making money. And trust me, this is like businesses. You might look at a business and say, oh, but that business makes all kind of money. I see the money coming in. And this is when people work for you. Sometimes they have a very minuscule. Oh, well, I work in sales and I know that, they made $2,000 a day, but you don't know what their expenses are. You don't know what their rent, overhead, CUC bill, paying you. There's tons of expenses, marketing and other things that are connected to running a business. So good morning, Miss Morna. Good morning, Andrea. Morning, Tracy. Thank you so much. So I even think about, the premier helping Mario Rankin get his talk show started. If it wasn't for the premier giving him a low $5,000, the chance of him getting that started would have been slim to none. Because remember, at the time he had Luis helping him, like produce the show and do all the graphics, all that kind of stuff. Luis not working for you for free. Y'all know Luis. He's from Honduras. He's a professional. And he don't come cheap either. So if he does something for you, you better believe there's a price tag attached to it. His services are not free. And so when Mario needed to start up his talk show, apparently he does it from a location where he was also renting a space, a small space, I guess. And he needs to pay rent and all these sorts of things. None of that's coming for free, folks. That comes with a price tag. And so, the premier gave him $5,000. Now, the irony of someone helping, this is a perfect example of don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Is that the correct saying? This is a perfect example of that. Because here's a man with, no strings attached, was like, Mario came to him, oh, I want to start a talk show. I want to do a podcast, whatever. And I need some money. The premier's like, okay, here's $5,000. Now, y'all don't know the premier's business. You don't know his finances. I'm sure that he could have found something much more. He could have invested that a lot more wisely now that he's reflecting on history, right? And this is why some people they can't help themselves, and other people will never be able to help them, because every time someone tries to help them, they look the gift horse in the mouth, right? And they make people end up regretting helping them, which is very, very unfortunate for them, because at some point the whole situation is going to dry up, and you will find yourself where nobody wants to help you. Anyway, yeah, so he got $5,000 to get started, and that kicked him off. And now one of the people that he attacks the most is the premier of this country. But having said that, I suppose the premier of this country shouldn't feel special, because apparently he was in a tirade. This is what I was talking about earlier, where I kind of feel like I don't even want to discuss this because I don't want to give him the attention that he's seeking. But he was on a tirade telling Sabrina to get off her ass and talking about her weave and this and that. I mean, he was all over the place with this situation, where honestly, I'm a little bit like disappointed, because I feel like it's disrespectful, a lot of the stuff that was said. There were comments made about the governor, that he needs to get out of here and he needs to do this and need that, and we'll ship him back in a box, or some foolishness. I mean, it was very, very, everyone that was sharing it with me, that was sending it to me, were like, this is too much. You know, we saw another person who likes to do podcasts, you know, doing a podcast recently that has gotten them arrested, and they're facing criminal charges. And so, as someone who's actually been in that boat, where something I said, and trust me, I was actually speaking the truth. This is the irony of everything in my situation. I was speaking the truth about a person who's been prolific in this community. And despite that, I still face charges and I was still found guilty. So if someone like Mario Rankin doesn't understand that his words and the things that he's saying could amount to harassment of these individuals, I suppose he thinks, oh, because they're a politician, he can say whatever they want, because it's the governor. He can say whatever he wants. And that's not really true. You know, the governor already gave him a pass during the lockdown situation. But someone says Mario's a bitter hater. I think he has. I was kind of hopeful that the knock on his head would have helped him in life. Like, it would have made him have an aha moment where he goes, wow, life is short. You know, I need to be, you know, cognizant of the energy that I'm putting out. I just expected a change of heart, but clearly the change has happened in the opposite direction, where it's now really a lot more vitriol, spewing of venomous words and a lot of negativity. I don't even know if I want to show you guys these videos, because they are really, like, I saw them, I was like, oh, wow. Now listen, let me be very clear about something. After the election, you know, I was so disappointed in these politicians trying to flip-flop, that I got on here and I did a show, and I made, you know, some comments about Sabrina and Isaac. And I know that at the moment, a lot of you felt like those words were very, very strong. Keeping it in context of what it was and what had transpired, I thought that the words were actually very, very fair. And it was an emotive situation for all of us who had gone to the polls and voted. The majority of people said, we're done with the progressives for now. We've had enough of them. And for them to still go in there and try to, by some backhanded deal, flip independents over to their side, I was like, wait a minute. You said you're running as an independent. You were not running as an alliance member of the progressives. And if that's the case, you were not a person of your word. So yeah, I went really hard on those people, because y'all know how I feel about certain things. And then, you know what? After it was done, it was done. I don't hate Isaac. I don't hate Sabrina, right? In fact, you know, I felt bad for Sabrina and Isaac, because they're also new timers. So this is like their first time in politics. So I feel like at the end of the day, they're not seasoned. They don't get it like an Alden McLaughlin. Now, Alden is he knows how to twist you and confuse you. You go sit down with him thinking that you're eating a steak, and the man is feeding you turtle meat, and you don't even know the difference. That's how confused he will have you. So he is he's a politician, right? That's the word I'm going to use to describe him. He is very much a politician, and he knows what he's doing. These guys are new to the political game, and they think they understand what's going on. They don't have a clue. Child, please, y'all like babies in diapers. Alden will spank you, put your diaper back on, and you sitting out there crying and not realizing that he's the one who spanked you and that that's what it is. So I felt like he was using them, and he purposely picked them because they were easy pickings, newcomers to the game. And I don't know what he was promising them, only God knows. But, you know, so those comments were directed at a very specific situation. And they were more about the situation than the individuals. Of course, disappointment in the individuals at that time. But if you've noticed, I have not sat here and spewed ongoing hate towards those individuals in any way, shape, or form. Now, some of you have an opinion that I don't like John Seymour. And for me, it's not a matter of whether I like him or not, because him and I are not friends. So I don't need to like him, to be quite frank. But I do not appreciate certain things that he has done. So, you know, we stay focused on the things that people do and not necessarily on the individuals, right? But I don't try to sit here and pick on people because of how they look or, you know, all that kind of stuff. Because to me, whether Alden does something special to his hair or whatever, I mean, I don't really care too much about that kind of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and talk about somebody's weave, right? I don't wear a weave, but I know a lot of women do. A lot of women wear headpieces. You know, some of y'all wouldn't look right without a headpiece, to be quite honest, without a little bit of weave and without a wig or whatever it is. I've never worn any of those things in my life. Sometimes I do. It does occur to me that my life would be so much easier if I just put on a wig, because it would always look fantastic with no hassle. But yeah, I mean, telling somebody to get off their ass and reminding them of their blackness. I mean, we all need to be reminded of our blackness in this community. None of y'all, I don't care how fair skinned you are in Cayman, you are of Negro descendants. It was just over the top. And the thing that is interesting to me is that nobody will be spared. If he's upset with you, you know, nobody will be spared. So the governor wasn't spared. The premier hasn't been spared. Alden hasn't been spared because of his knighthood. Sabrina hasn't been spared. Who else has he been going after? Chris Saunders hasn't been spared. I don't know if he's gone after Kenneth yet, but it's only a matter of time. You know how this works. And, you know, at the end of the day, folks, here's the bottom line with Mario. I'm going to tell you the truth about Mario. He wants to be included in the good old boys network. He has been excluded, and exclusion for him, I guess, if you're a narcissist, makes you feel really, really bad. You know, you just want to belong. Remember that book I was telling you guys about, everything I learned in kindergarten or whatever? All of our bad habits, we tend to learn fairly early on in life as well. The trauma that we go through, people maybe making fun of us at a young age, not wanting to include us in the cool group or whatever, makes a lot of us spend an entire lifetime feeling like we need to belong to a certain club, you know? And one way in which people think that they can belong is to try to take those same people that they want to be a part of and tear them apart and tear them down. When history has demonstrated that, you know, when he was getting a contract from DART, for example, the DART organization, post Ivan cleanup, and he was in charge of all the truckers and that sort of situation, he wasn't out there having anything to say about DART. He wasn't criticizing DART. He didn't have any issues with DART. So as long as you're doing what he wants you to do, as long as you're paying his paycheck or contributing to his lifestyle, then he's okay with it. And this is where I know a lot of you listen to this program and then you jump over on his program, you listen to him afterwards. And what I will say is there's a certain lack of genuineness. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, then something's probably wrong with your gift of discernment. But there is a lack of genuineness that comes with what certain people do. I saw somebody else jump up. Oh, we need to have another parade about the anti-vax thing. And I said, oh, she's upset now because she thinks Mario getting a little bit more attention than her recently. So she needs to jump on her bandwagon and remind people, oh, I'm still here. It's attention seeking. That's all it is. Certain people want you to, it's like, hey, look at me. I'm over here. Pay me some mind. And there's a number of reasons why that happens. One is normally they have accomplished nothing in their life that they can themselves be proud of. Like, you don't need other people to pat you on the back and to sing your praises when you're just all about doing what you got to do. You're so focused on your goals, right? You don't need the praise from others. And if you're doing things for the right reason, you also don't need other people to praise you. But when you have insecurities in your own self and you want to be accepted, oh, I want to be on the planning board. I want to be on the off-reg board. And when the powers that be, the in club now, which is the PAC government, says to you, no, you can't be on that board because they have concerns about things you were saying to people about favors that will flow if you're on a board. You know, when you get told no, then you get upset. And we see it with the Dr. Franks of the world, the Marios of the world, the Katinas of the world, many more. They get upset when people tell them no. When somebody tells me no, and there's a legitimate reason why they're telling me no, I need to figure out how I can take that no and make it a yes. What is it that I need to do? I look back at myself and I'm like, okay, am I doing something wrong here? You know, what do I need to do? What do I need to put on the table? What do I need to offer? What do I need to change about myself? Maybe there is something that I am doing wrong and I need to make some necessary adjustments. Look at the man in the mirror. But a lot of people cannot look at the man. Alexa, volume down. Alexa, volume all the way down. I think there's a button on these Alexa devices where you can press it so that they don't listen to you. I discovered one in the room the other day. That's what I need to do with her. So yeah, I mean, that's part of it, wanting to be in the cool club. You know, listen, I don't care about being in the cool club. In high school, I was part of the nerd group. I was part of the, the glee club. I mean, I don't personally sing because I'm horrible at singing, but all the really smart kids were in glee as well. I noticed like a lot of the singers were like super, super smart. They were in all the honors classes with me, the AP classes. That was because I was focused on my goal of just trying to get a good education so I could get into university and I could have a degree under my belt in life to try to do something better with my life, right? I wasn't concerned about, oh, I want to be a cheerleader. I want to be at this. You know, none of that really matters in life, right? We're the cheerleaders now. Where did they end up in life, honestly? So I think you got to find your place. And if you have struggled your entire life with trying to belong, I do see how that could, as Emma says, make you a bitter soul. And it's unfortunate because bitter people impact people around them, especially now that every bitter person can have a platform. Oh my God, getting on a show every single day and, spewing this negativity and this bitterness does something to the entire community, because the entire community is then talking about it. They're on the bitter train and everybody's feeling bitter. Everybody's feeling upset. And, one of my goals for 2022, I have to tell you, and I don't know if you've noticed it or not, is that I just need to be more positive. Even when we are addressing issues and being constructively critical of a situation, I feel like we don't have to do it with a degree of vitriol. Now, there's certain things that I'm still going to go a little bit. I'm going to go there with certain things. So when y'all messing with children and you know who you are, that is something that disgusts me to my core. So it is difficult for me to have those conversations without being, I don't know that bitter is the right word, but maybe it is, towards abusers and stuff like that, because it just needs to stop, right? But just overall being bitter for the sake of being bitter, nah, life is too short for that. And when you fall off a ladder and almost kill yourself, you would think that you would completely comprehend exactly how short life is for all of us. You can walk out right now and get hit by a bus or drop down with a heart attack. I mean, you just never know. So, I think that Alden is deserving of a knighthood? No, I don't personally think that at all. I think that he has done so much to this country in his tenure that was not good for this country, that to disregard all of that and say, oh, for 3 months, he was the holy grail because he locked everybody down for the sake of COVID, that's enough to give somebody knighthood. I kind of think the standard for giving somebody knighthood must be really, really low. And that's the God's honest truth. I don't care if Alden likes it or not. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and spew hate at the man. If he wants to take his knighthood and whatever, whatever. I don't really care about Alden McLaughlin at that level, but I do care about what he's done to this country, the things that he was trying to do. So Aliana says, I don't mind John, but the moon crazy mess and tongue speaking is too much. Sir Alden, kiss my teeth, the man too slick. Well, again, everybody's entitled to those opinions. I was very, very specific about the things that bothered me about Alden and John and the things that they did and say during the pandemic and even before that, and I think it is what it is. But focus on the behavior. Lucky Body says, LOL, Sandy, my Alexa's now chatting to me. Oh, child, let me tell you. If you accidentally say the name, you're like, oh, man, I didn't mean to say it. Good morning to Marshall. We're all children of God, says Louis, and through his mercy and grace we're breathing. His daily bread is given by that grace. It's not earned. Well, I tell you what, there are certain things in life that are earned, and there are people who are looking for handouts from political leaders or people who are looking for handouts. And when they don't get what they want, the situation becomes extremely negative, which is very, very unfortunate. So, someone says, can we get a nature segment in CMR sent in short video clips in between programming? I got a lot of positive vibes on this one. Oh, okay, let's check out what you've sent us. So there was a lot of changes. We've talked about PCR tests now being charged for. So here's what the pricing is. You've heard it here first on HSA pricing. Again, we only only give you the facts. But this is going to be the pricing for the HSA. So if you need to do an LFT test, $25, and a PCR test is $75, effective tomorrow. Boom. Accurate information. You got a start date, and that's what it's going to be. All right. Spread it around. Tell your friends that that's what it's going to be. Okay. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, yes. So the South Sound Community Center, we need to clarify what you need to go there for. Okay. So a lot of y'all are like, oh, I'm trying to go there and the line is so long. Well, pay attention to this PSA.
This is Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez, Medical Officer of Health. The Public Health Department reminds the public that the South Sound Community Center PCR testing clinic is only for persons who have reported a positive lateral flow test. Effective Friday, January 14, 2022, the clinic hours have been extended to 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. daily. Testing from this afternoon clinic is not valid for travel purposes. Public Health encourages the wearing of masks when around others, frequent hand washing and sanitation, and the use of lateral flow testing for regular screening. This combined measure will help to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community.
All right, folks. So to be very, very clear, the South Sound Community Center from 1 to 3 p.m. is for PCR testing only for persons reporting positive on the lateral flow test. So the good news is if you're testing positive, you don't have to worry about catching COVID because you already got COVID. Folks, this is the bottom line here is if you test positive on the LFT, that's not where you have to be concerned about it being wrong. It's going to be wrong on the negative side. So if it tells you you're negative, you can be positive, and an LFT will give you an incorrect reading. That we know for a fact, folks. But it's not going to tell you you're positive if you're not positive. So if you're positive, you're positive. And then you go and you want to get it confirmed from 1 to 3 p.m. at the South Sound Community Center. Everybody else is going to be going to McClendon Drive. So if all positive people are standing up together, you're not going to be contaminating anybody else because you're already positive. So make sure you got that information, right? All right, let's take a little commercial break. I want to go and check on something, actually. I've got, I'm going to tell you guys what I got going on here at home. But I think this is a great opportunity, since we're talking about LFTs and so forth, to remind you how to accurately do an LFT. So this is a PCA that was done. It's called Bobo and TD. It was done by the Cayman Islands Red Cross. Big shout out to them.
Pepe, what are you making this time? A special elixir to become Pepe the Invincible. Oh boy. Actually, Pepe, we have a job to do. What? A mission for Pepe the Invincible? Okay, so there's a coronavirus test that we can do at home.
Yes, we don't need to go to the doctor or hospital.
I know, it's a lateral flow test. Correct, lateral flow test, or LFTs. Both grown-ups and kids use these more frequently to help slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community.
So, we thought we would help show you how to use it.
I agree. We should all know how to do it. And it works like a science experiment. Let's get started. Before taking your lateral flow test, remember not to eat or drink for at least 30 minutes. I think that becomes the most challenging part of the test.
I agree.
Every good scientist knows to keep our work areas clean and tidy when starting an experiment. So begin by cleaning the space you will use for your test. And if you're doing multiple tests, remember to clean your testing area and wash your hands very well in between doing each test.
Use a paper towel to prevent cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination. When germs get transferred from one person or object to another person or object. Wash your hands for at least 30 seconds and clean the area you use.
Open your kit. Lay out the contents.
Make sure you get a box of tissues or some tissue paper. Now, look at the items from your kit. Check to make sure nothing looks broken, missing, or damaged.
Read all the instructions for your test before you do anything.
We use the Flow Flex test, but most lateral flow test instructions go something like this. Step 1. Remove the flow from the top of the extraction buffer tube. Because tubes can't stand up by themselves, place it into the hole in your kit box. If your kit comes with a tube holder, put it in the tube holder. Step 2. Get the swab packaging. It looks like a Q-tip. Don't touch the soft side with your hands. If you touch it with your hands, the test won't work correctly.
Yes, that's right. The soft part will go into your nose, but not very far.
Only about 1.5 centimeters or ½ inch. Step 3. Rotate the swab 5 times, brushing it against the inside of your nostril. That looks a bit ticklish. Yes, rubbing it against the side of your nose will probably tickle a little. When done with one nostril, use the same swab on the other side and rotate it 5 times again.
Step 4.
Put it into the tube and swirl it gently for 30 seconds.
Step 5. Gently squeeze the side of the tube while rotating the swab 5 times. See? Just like this.
This gentle squeezing while rotating the swab makes sure you get everything off the swab and into the mixture. When you finish turning it, remove the swab while squeezing the tube to ensure you get everything. Step 6. Now watch closely. Attach the dropper tip firmly onto the extraction buffer tube. Make sure that it goes on good and proper, because you will mix everything thoroughly by swirling and maybe even gently flicking the bottom of the tube. Step 7. Now you'll need the pouch that contains the cassette,
or as I call it, the rectangular results thingy.
So take that out of the pouch and lay it flat.
Gently squeeze the tube. Put 4 drops on the specimen well. Like this. Easy peasy.
Almost there. Now just set the timer for 15 to 30 minutes and wait for the results.
The results have come in. Drum roll, please. I see a red line.
A line across the C means that you have a COVID negative result.
That means the test did not find traces of COVID proteins, called antigens, in the sample.
A line across the C and the T means that you have a COVID positive result.
Don't worry if you test positive. It just means you need to take care of yourself.
Your parent or guardian will let you know what to do. And if they need more guidance, they can always call the flu hotline on 1-800-534-8600.
If you get no line across the C at all, it means that your test did not work properly.
That means you have to get another kit and do it again. That line across the C should always show up. And that's it, all done. Just make sure you clean up and throw all the testing bits away.
Wash your hands after the test for at least 30 seconds, and you're good to go.
Remember to report your results to your school and follow the directions they give you.
If you find yourself feeling worried, sad, or even angry about taking a COVID test, remember you can ask for help.
Some people may feel anxious about getting a positive result.
Talk to your parents or guardians.
You can even talk to your school counselor. You can also call the mental health helpline on 1-800-534-6463 to talk to someone who helps kids with their feelings, like Miss Sophia.
Stay safe, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.
All right, folks, Bobo and TD telling you how to get it done. How do you get it done? Lateral flow test, very, very easy. So again, folks, I want to be very, very clear that the testing that is required if you are positive, there's no charge for that. So that's still mandated by public health. So this should not impact anyone who's positive who needs to go in and confirm their positive test. People who are doing it on their own, which I guess some people just want to know their status for whatever reason, they are going to have to pay for it. And I honestly don't see anything wrong with that. Like I said, start thinking about the fact that you don't get a free meal from anybody. Now, if your employer is requesting it, I guess this is a decision for employers to make, and some employers are definitely requesting it of people who have remained unvaccinated. So I know, some law firms and other firms, you have to do a weekly PCR test if you are unvaccinated. And that's one of the things that has come with that. Are they going to continue to, I'm assuming that they've been paying for it all this time. Well, there hasn't really been a cost associated necessarily, but are they going to pay for that for the employee? I don't actually know. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So again, to be very, very clear, the HSA pricing is going to be $25 for an LFT test and $75 for a PCR test starting tomorrow. So it's voluntary COVID testing that's going to be paid for. Insurance will cover it if it's required for medical reasons. So in other words, if you need it because you are part of your hospitalization, part of your, requirement to go overseas for medical treatments and so on, that will be it. So Andrew says vaccines are free, $100 for 2 tests. Well, the reason for that, Andrew, is very, very simple. We do not pay for the vaccine. So we wouldn't be passing on a price for something that we don't pay for. We very much have paid for all of the things associated with COVID testing, including the very expensive equipment. The UK didn't send that to us at no cost. They're trying to keep afloat themselves. So no such thing as a free meal. We've been getting it free all this time. At some point, unfortunately, the free meal is going to come to an end. So yes, there's equipment cost, the original machine, plus all the materials to continually test people, the swab kits and all that kind of stuff, paying the staff who that's their focus. That's all they do. I would love to know actually how much it costs to do, like, what's the breakdown to do one single test? I bet you it's nowhere near what you're going to pay from the HSA's perspective. Let me see if I can find this out. Let me see if I can figure this one out. Because I'm willing to bet if they're charging us $75 for the PCR test, they may just be trying to cover costs. And a lot of times government will not cover their cost in terms of like the $75 may not be the true cost. Maybe it's cost them $85, but they're like, okay, if we can get, 80, 90% of that covered, then it's better than nothing. So Risa says this was related to positive LFT that requires a PCR test. The health minister might need to clarify this with testing facilities. Doctors Hospital is charging $150. It's a shame that the government didn't put in place for all service providers to charge the same as the HSA. Well, I'm pretty sure that they can't dictate to people what to charge because they're private sector. So, yeah. That's when you get into government controls, and then private organizations like doctors, hospitals, and others say, hold on, pump the brakes. What the heck are you doing? So we like to talk about government controls when it doesn't impact us. But if you were owner at Doctors Hospital or any other private company, I have someone right now messaging me about the whole music on Sundays thing, and they're all upset because they own a bar. You see, you only think about the implications of it when it's actually impacting you. When it's somebody else, Doctors Express, Total Health, Health City, they can afford it. They can da-da-da-da. Yeah, they can afford it because somewhere along the line, they're going to pass the cost on to you. That's how businesses work. And so when government starts to dictate to private entities, you must charge this price, you must charge this, price control is not something that has really worked anywhere else in the world. Now, if, Risa, it is the case that they're charging you when they're not supposed to be charging you, then that is a very, very different situation. So Magdalene says, agree, no free meals. So even those on a tourism stipend, we're paying for this, get a job. And some of them, the irony of it is some of them have gotten a job and continue to want a free meal of an extra $1,500 per month in the kitty. And you can't have that. I mean, we've all been stretched to the limits in terms of COVID. And you've got to be realistic, right? About the financial implications of this. This is why when I think to myself, people say, oh, this whole thing is like a big setup and, government this and that and whatever. I'm like, you do understand what the pandemic has done to the economies of the world. Like some are in ruin. Like, honestly, hospitals in the UK are so inundated with, no beds. Now they've got the staff, frontline staff, like they're dying. They're getting COVID. It's just like, why do you think anyone would purposely put this out there, and governments would be trying to kill you with a vaccine. There'd be so many easier ways to there would be so many easier ways to kill you than developing a vaccine and developing COVID that is going to, essentially ruin this entire world. I mean, to me, it's just like when people say stuff like that, I'm like, continue, go to the logical conclusion of how this helps anybody. I'm just wondering. Let me just see here. So, let me just see. So someone was asking about the Heroes Day. Unfortunately, I don't really have any information on Heroes Day that I can share. It did occur to me that we're being awfully quiet about the Heroes Day situation. So I did send out a message to see if I could get some feelers about what's going on about the whole thing. And so far, nothing as yet. I can't tell you what I don't know. And I don't know why GIS hasn't sent anything out, that the relevant government agency that's responsible for Heroes Day hasn't sent anything out. So I don't know. What I don't know, I don't know. And I can't tell you what I don't know. So, capiche? Clear as mud. Mm-hmm. All right, let me give you some information on COVID reporting. So I think a lot of you guys know this already. And you know that the way in which we will be reporting COVID tests here in the Cayman Islands is changing as of, I think it's this Wednesday, the 19th. So this is a bit of important information for you. Please keep this in the back of your minds, because I know by this evening, y'all will be messaging me, well, why is it that the COVID test doesn't have as much information in it as it previously did? And I'm like, I need y'all to pay attention now. We got to keep it tight, folks. In terms of, what is actually happening. Okay, so let me just show you guys this. Don't you hate when a computer saves something for you and then you're like, where did it save it? Why can't I find it? Give me 1 second here. I'm going to. It's a strange location for it. I had to do some. I had to beg Marlon to do some work on my computer for me last night, actually, because, quite interestingly enough, I think I was just running out of space. Like the hard drive, which is at least a 1 terabyte, which is supposed to be a lot, is already running out of space. I think I need it got to be more than 1 terabyte in this machine, though. That can't be just a 1 terabyte. But anyway, it was, my C drive is only a terabyte. I need like a 10 terabyte machine, because trust me, there's a lot of content, videos and whatever. So he had to free up a little bit of space on there for me and move stuff around. And my emails were also, like, when I would search for an email, it was like freezing. It wouldn't find it because there was just too much stuff in my emails. One email folder, and I have multiple email accounts. So one account and one folder, which was the inbox from my primary personal one, had over 66,000 emails. Mind you, it was going back to I scrolled all the way down, and there was stuff on there from from 2013, I think. So it has been a while. And I was thinking to myself, why do I still have all of these messages? Like, I couldn't quite understand why they were still there. And I thought, oh yeah, it's time for somebody to clean this mess up. So I had to beg Marlon to provide his assistance with my email. Over 66,000 emails. Can you believe it? I was like, whoa, that's a lot. All right, so here's a little message from Dr. Newton.
Since when I arrived in beginning of December last year, I found that there was already like a skeleton of what we call a situational report, which is a CTREP, which is a normal tool you use it's used in many countries during period of emergencies or pandemic, etc., like is now, which collects information on national level, regional level, city, town, or whatever, and is then made available to the public. And this information contains not just numbers, but elaboration on numbers, so rates, graphs, and so on. So we've been working at improving, finalizing this report, etc., which is fairly simple. Has got 4 or 5 graphs, no more than that, a couple of about 4 tables. But the point is the graphs do not change very much from one day to the other. So we have been producing and distributing it tentatively internally, just to see how people were reacting and how it looked and so on, whether it was useful. There are things which still needs to be refined, improved. It's a live document, so there is always room for improvement. But the key point is, if you produce it on a daily basis, it's not very informative because the graphs do not change so much from one day to the next day. So by giving it once a week, it's much more, it gives you more of an impact. The CTREP also contains key points, so really bullet points of summarizing the information and the key messages that we want to give to the public. Again, this is not something that changes very much from one day to the other. So that's what is behind the idea of moving from a daily basis to a weekly basis. I just would like to add that I'm really looking forward to next Wednesday, where we can, hopefully we will be ready with the first renewed version of the CTREP, which then will be made available to the media and to the public, and we look forward to feedback.
All right, folks. So thank you to Dr. Newton for explaining the logic behind why we will now be following the international standard set by everybody else, that everybody else follows in terms of reporting protocols for COVID numbers. So I know here in the Cayman Islands, we like to get stuff in real time. And I totally understand wanting those daily numbers. We're in a little media WhatsApp group where they send out GIS sends out like the notifications for the day and whatever. And every single day, like clockwork, it's almost like Pavlov's dog theory, right? Where the dog is sitting there sort of like drooling at a specific time because it's gotten so used to getting that little nugget, that little treat in the evenings. And every evening it's like, are we going to get the numbers yet? Are we ready for the numbers? Are we getting the numbers right now? And it's like, pump the brakes. And so now we know that this protocol is going to be changing to once per week. I think y'all can kind of relax a little bit more and only get excited once a week. So yes, Louis, hashtag no free meals. So let me just clarify again. I mean, I've said it before, at least 3 times now, but I'm also aware that in order for something to sink in, you've got to say it more than 3 times, obviously. So an astute listener is still saying that I don't think your listeners are getting it. And I think what's happening, could be that some of the comments are a little bit delayed because I'm always behind reading the comments. But it also could be that, in fact, some of you are not getting it. So again, let me put the visual up because I want y'all to read it for yourselves. And then I want everyone to understand what is actually happening here with the cost of PCR test. Okay, so let me just grab this WhatsApp message. And this is true not just of Doctors Hospital, but this is true of any private provider now. So here's the situation. Hi, Sandra. I think there's a misunderstanding in the part of one of your listeners. Doctors Hospital does not charge the patient directly to have a PCR test when you have a positive lateral flow. The cost is covered by public health. So let me reiterate. Is that the right pronunciation of that word? For the purposes of everyone listening to the program. If it is in relation to a positive lateral flow test, the government, aka public health, will continue to cover those costs. So there will be, no changes in relation to that. Capiche? Clear? Crystal clear? All right. Hopefully we've all got it now. Okay. All right. Okay. Miss Donna says, Louis says the government is doing a great job given the stipend. The U.S. stopped that long ago. Ms. Brenda says the source of revenue could have been obtained if they had left the inbound travelers testing instead of stressing people to get it overseas and that jurisdiction getting the funds in their kitties. Well, again, there's a balance here that has to be drawn. You can't say that it's inbound funds or, funds going into the kitty when you're having to expend resources and stuff that you do not have. So let's be very clear, right? On the one hand, you might be saying, okay, if we provide this service, we're going to charge for it. If you're already understaffed, inundated, the labs can barely keep up with what they have now. Why put that pressure on yourself for the perception that you're going to have people at the airport who can come in and get tested? And you know what it does to the airport and how it clogs people up at the airport? And then what do you do when somebody's already here and they've tested positive? Like that, there's so many things that was wrong with that particular method of having people test here at the airport because a lot of people then test positive and, oh my gosh, now they have to run around, find a quarantine facility. There's no spots at this hotel anymore. And it was just a real cluster situation. So I don't know that that is worth what you think the money is that they'd be making. It's not really a whole lot of money, folks. I'm telling y'all, this is not, it just doesn't make any sense. This is not a profit-making situation. This is where they're just trying to cover costs. But even them trying to cover costs when you have all the other things that you're expanding on that, providing that service. And not to mention the frustration of traveling and coming into an airport and have to deal with that as part of your travel. You've already been, I don't know where you came from. Maybe you came from Canada. That's a 4-hour flight. If you came from Miami, it's only an hour and a half. But then to sit in an airport, in a long line in an airport, they'd be complaining about that too. Oh yeah, other positive people in the airport with me. I don't want to be standing here for too long. I mean, there's so many reasons why I could argue that that was not an effective way to do it. Having it done in their jurisdiction 24 hours beforehand, I think really, really saves a lot of time and money. And you know what? If they test negative, then they're not coming in. There's also that. You also reduce the number of people who are potentially coming here negative or positive. My apologies, not negative, positive within the 24-hour period. So I think that that's probably a good thing as well. So Bink says it's only $20 US for PCR tests at some locations in Miami. So Janetta says $25 for an LFT, not even for PAC. This isn't for the PAC, this is where you go there and they conduct the LFT for you. So again, folks, let us think very, very logically about the cost of doing business. If you go and get an $8 LFT and you do it yourself, that's fine. If you're having it certified or you're having it done at a facility, That is a very, very different situation. Someone has to do it for you. That staff member has to be paid. Y'all complain about y'all not getting paid enough? Well, that staff member has to be paid, and they have to get insurance, and there has to be this, and there has to be that. That's the difference. That's why when you go to a facility and you have a test done that you could do at home yourself, there's additional cost to it because there's someone actually being paid to administer the test. That's why it's $75. Simple. Or $25, sorry. PCR test is $75. All right. Okie dokie. Sorry for the typing. I was just trying to. So someone's asking me to confirm something with pricing at Health City. Okay, give me a second. Let me see. So yeah, I mean, listen. You do a DNA test at home, like, you know, you can just put it in a pack. Speaking of which, I need to do mine. I want to send off my what is it called? Something in me or whatever those kits are called, where I want to find out where you're really from. What part of the bush in Africa did you come from? Nigeria, where else? South Africa. Like, I want to figure it out, right? Like, what's your lineage? So I'm gonna do my DNA test and send it in. I got 2 kits over a year ago. How do they expire? I bet you they do. I better hurry up and use it. It was on sale one time and I got it. But it's been over a year now, so I'm gonna try and get it done. And then I need to do, you know what? Yeah, I need to. All right. And then my husband needs to do his as well. So I want to find out what part of India his people come from. South India, East India, maybe he's from Goa. I mean, I don't know. So, you know, if you do one of those kits at home, you pay for the kit, you do it, you mail it in, and I guess they'll email you the results or whatever. Easy. If you go to a professional and you say, oh, I want to do a DNA swab, again, that professional has to charge you a different fee. It's not quite the same thing. Let's talk about this hot mess. All right, let's leave COVID testing and 23andMe. Thank you, Gabby. I don't know. It's here in the drawer, actually. I just sitting here in my office forever. I don't know. Let me tell y'all. Hold on one second. I don't know. I feel like I need to get this done. Let me see here now. You know, one of the worst things to do is put something in a drawer. Because God knows. Oh, it has first class service included. Oh man, I should have sent this to my friend going to Miami the other day. Because she could have just, look, she could just drop it in the box for me. Now, I don't know if they expire. It says exempt human specimen, UPS tracking number. Oh, I gotta do this. I'm gonna do this. 23andMe, yes, this is the one I got. So see the little kit here? I haven't opened mine or anything yet because I've never done it. But I'm gonna do mine and send it in. I just thought it would be interesting. And then you can get connected to these databases that kind of find people all over the world that are family to you. You know what's so interesting about that? I was watching a show just yesterday about a guy that he was a serial rapist in California. He operated for a number of years, brutally raping women. And you know how they found him? They had his DNA sample. And he was one of those people that had never been arrested for anything else. So, you know, we were talking about this last week. If you have a DNA database, that's helpful for people who get arrested and get put in the database. But he was never arrested. So what they did was they took the DNA sample and they did like reverse genealogy on it or whatever. And they put it in one of these databases that people upload voluntarily to, find relatives or whatever. And what they ended up realizing is they found his relatives. So they didn't know who he was because he actually wasn't in any databases, but I'm sure he was being very, very careful. He actually worked at University of Berkeley for many, many years. So they were able to find relatives and they had to figure out, okay, this is his DNA. Who are his parents? Who his grandparents? And then eventually they were able to identify him. Obviously, they have to get a specimen from him. So once they narrowed it down, they think, okay, this is the person that we're looking for potentially for this crime. They just surveillance. They watch him. He spits on the sidewalk. He drops a coffee mug in the garbage. So on trash day, they went through his garbage and they took a straw out of his house and DNA tested the straw, confirmed that that matched the DNA of the rapist that they had on file. But it was just so incredibly interesting that how they actually found him was a good bit of DNA genealogy work. And then, putting the pieces together. And I thought that was so amazing. But anyway, so yes, there's that. All right, Health City. Okay, so we're trying to get confirmation of that question for you. Just give me a few seconds. Someone says some people just love to complain for the sake of complaining. This person says Mario is a bitter hater. He is all in his feelings because he didn't get what he can't get what his way. And I'm sure that if he was getting money and what he wanted, he would be quiet. Okay, airplane issues. Whew, for a minute there, I think we all forgot about what it was like to have to deal with airplane delays and cancellations and all that sort of stuff. But it's here. Sorry, guys. It's back with a vengeance. So what do we have going on? Sundays is always the worst day for Cuban Airways. I'll tell you what I understand happens. And of course, if you know more, you can certainly correct me. So last night, Cuba flight got delayed because of mechanical issue. So my sources have said that Cuba's still stuck. Let me see now. So, yep, Cuba's not leaving until maybe 10:30 this morning. I thought I heard that they were trying to send the Saab to Cuba to pick up people, but I don't know how many people were in Cuba because the Saab doesn't really hold that many people. So I guess if they didn't have a lot of people, then maybe that would make sense. I'm not really sure. But if it's more people than that, then that isn't going to work. So that, I guess, didn't happen last night. So they were going to leave at 10:30 because, and I understand from my people at Cuban Airways that Cuban flight is always a problem. It is always late, even when there's no mechanical issues. There's always something. It gets held up in Cuba. It gets held up in the US and Miami. There's always an issue with that flight. And as a result of that, any travel that falls out of on a Sunday night out of Jamaica or even Miami, you're going to have a problem. Don't travel on a Sunday night. I know this sounds horrible because sometimes if you go away for the weekend, you want to come back at the latest possible flight before you have to go to work on Monday. And I have learned that there's certain times, even before COVID, that it was always going to be late on a Sunday night, always a delay. And that was true of Cuban Airways coming out of Miami. And it's because of this Cuba flight is what I've been told. There's always some issue with this Cuba flight for one reason or another. And so if you want to sit in the airport for hours and don't get into Cayman until after midnight, coming from Miami overly tired, then I guess Sunday is your day to do it. But I'd rather come back overnight and come out Monday morning. But then, of course, what ends up happening like today is you're going to have a lot of overflow issues. So now the flights from yesterday, because of mechanical issues, apparently, were no-go. So Cuba's coming in at 10:30 today. New York got delayed. I don't even know if New York, let me see if I can find out if New York ever made it. So that was delayed, according to the online flight trader. That wasn't going to be coming in until I think 2:30 or something in the morning. So I don't even know if that came. That was the max, one of the max 8s. And then Jamaica was delayed until this afternoon. So Jamaica is slated to come in at, I think it's like 1:20 this afternoon. So I feel sorry for you if you're planning to go to work this morning and you were relying on Cayman Airways being on time last night, because obviously that did not happen. So now, you've got a bit of a situation where you are going to be stuck in. And the thing about Jamaica is if you traveled from elsewhere in Jamaica, right, and you were really needing to get out Sunday night, you better have a friend or somebody in Kingston that you can call, because you are going to be, overnighting in Kingston. Because it doesn't make sense to drive 4 or 5 hours to wherever. I don't know what the farthest point of Jamaica is. Don't ask me. I don't know very much about Jamaican geography, but wherever you're from, Mobay or wherever, right? Say that's like a 4-hour drive. For you to try to drive back there last night, by the time you realize the flight isn't going to leave until today, and then get back up early this morning, drive all the way back to Kingston, fighting Kingston traffic, everything else, it probably doesn't make any sense. And if you didn't plan ahead and you didn't have money to stay in a hotel last night in Kingston, if the hotels were full or who knows, you probably found yourself having to sleep at the airport. I mean, I don't know what people do when that happens. But having to overnight in an airport is never a fun situation to be in, right? So just keep in mind that the pre-COVID travel woes are back. And in addition to that, the post-COVID travel woes have been added to that whole situation to really compound it and make it that much worse for everybody. That's what I can tell you is happening. So Kingston should be coming in at 1:20. I actually think my cleaning lady was supposed to be coming back. Let me check with her. Let me see when she was coming. When did she message me last? She messaged me today. Oh, at 6:44 a.m. I haven't listened to the message yet. Okay. So I have to see what that's all about. She's probably telling me that she's going to be late, or that she's back and she wants to come early. And I've said to her, no. If you got back on, I think she was flying on Saturday, if my memory serves me correctly. So I'm like, listen, if you're back early, you need to take a couple days before you come and see me. Wait about 2-3 days and lateral flow test. Then you can come and see me, because, child, I got some laundry that needs to be sorted out. But I've seen this happen. Somebody comes back from Jamaica, negative PCR test 24 hours before arrival, come in, 2 days later, boom, they're COVID positive. Now, I'm pretty sure that they got it in Jamaica. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay. So I'm just getting some clarification. On the whole Health City question that we got. So it says that it's $25 US. This is Health City for the certified LFT for travel. That's including the LFT. The government has mandated LFT to visit inpatients, which is a smart idea. It's $10, if I recall, for persons who want a report if we view the LFT for that purpose. So you can bring in your LFT and want to see an inpatient and review it and give the report. I'm a little bit confused about what that means. If you want to come and see an inpatient and you don't need a report, you can bring your LT and we will view it, and then you can go see the patient at no additional cost. Oh, I see. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for that police update. Good. Okay. Yes. All right then. Mm-hmm. Well, what a hot mess. So that's interesting. So to visit inpatients, they can bring their own LFT in the box. We have a medical professional that would administer or watch them do it. Oh. Okay, just trying to get some clarification about how that works. So that's good. I wonder if that's true at HSA as well. Let me just see something here. It's good. I think that's great. And I think that it's did he say that it was mandated? Yes, the government has mandated LFT to visit inpatients. So I would think that that applies to, although nobody else has said that, I would think that that applies to all medical facilities. Let me clarify. So I will reach out to someone at Doctors, and I will reach out to someone at the other hospital, HSA. So let me just get some clarification on that, because I'm assuming if it's mandated, it can't just be mandated just for Health City. It would be everybody, right? Ah. Okay, well, look at that. You learn something new every day once you're willing to live, child. Once you're breathing, you can get new information. You just got to be willing. Good morning, Dalcy. Where did you purchase the kit from? You know what? I actually got these online at Amazon. They were having some kind of like a sale. And they always have these things on sale, I feel like. But I think it was like not last year, but probably the year before. They were doing a probably like a Cyber Monday sale or something. But this one says Health Plus Ancestry. So they test for a whole bunch of stuff. These kits here, saliva collection kit. So I'm definitely once you know who your family to, child, you can probably figure out what issues you need to be cognizant of in terms of your ancestry as well. Because we adopt let me see here now. We adopt issues from family, and we also, unfortunately, some of it's like straight up hereditary, and then others of it is lifestyle. We're just getting all the bad lifestyle habits that then contribute to so I actually got these in 2020. Lord, I better hurry up and use them. And they go for like $200 normally, but I can't remember what I paid for it, to be honest, but it was a really good deal. Let me see if order details. Let me see if Amazon will tell me. You know what I noticed with Amazon is lately they had them on sale for $99. So they had them on sale for like 50%. So I got two for the price of one, basically. Now they're for $199, exact same test. So I feel like Amazon's kind of weird sometimes with invoicing. Before, they'd keep your invoice there for years. Like you could go back years and see what you paid for something. And lately they have been doing this thing. So I'm surprised I could still see this one. The invoice disappears. Like it's weird. So this one is 23andMe Health Plus Ancestry Service, personal genetic DNA kit, including health predispositions, carrier status, wellness, and trait reports. Ooh, child. I gotta see what they're gonna tell me now. Yeah, so we know that genetics plays an important role in your health. And so they're going to tell me if I'm a carrier for certain inherited conditions, like diabetes or whatever else. So this is also helps you discover your ancestry composition and where in the world your DNA is from across 2,000 plus regions. Now, do you guys remember one time we had Oliver Watler and Miss Kathy on the program? Because locally, they're like our genealogy and DNA experts. They do a lot with local DNA, and they can tell you a lot about who you're from, who your mama is, who you might have thought. Well, most people know who their mothers are. It's kind of hard to not know who your mother is, but who knows? Might have been a mix-up in the hospital. I'm just kidding. But who your dad is probably the better question, because y'all be calling this man Papa, and he not your Papa, not at all. And your Papa is actually your uncle and your Papa. You know, there's a lot of that going on, man. This one sleeping with this one. Sisters sleeping with each other, husbands and boyfriends. And so the families get all kind of mixed up and all kind of thing. So the man you've been calling daddy all these years is your daddy and your uncle. Or not your dad at all. And it's somebody totally different. So there's been a couple of surprisations in Cayman over the years as a result of this sort of thing. And the DNA test will undoubtedly tell you who you're for. Once you know, when you can get a DNA test from them. And you know what? I've heard Caymanians say they've had these tests done. And interestingly enough, they have discovered family overseas they didn't know they had. So remember when your daddy and grandpa was going off to sea, he was doing more than just hanging out on a boat, you know, delivering. I don't know what the heck they were delivering. You know, but all kind of shenanigans were going on back in the day. So this could answer a lot of questions for you. You can get into these DNA groups and stuff like that. So this one's quite interesting. So it does 150 plus personalized genetic report. Child. Talks about diabetes. Your genetics are associated with a typical likelihood. So tell you like 37% likely. You know, your ethnicity also makes you more high risk for certain diseases as well. There are certain diseases that if you are of African descent, which most of us are, you will be what's the word I'm looking for? Predisposed, yes, to those certain types of diseases. So in other words, yes, predisposition, you need to be very, very careful. Sickle cell, for example, cystic fibrosis. There's tons of things, folks, that you might want to be aware of. Genetic weight. So your genes can predispose you to weight about 7% less than average. It'll tell you here. Child, well, we know we got that in the family. I don't need a DNA. I don't need a 24andMe to tell that. I just need to look at the 5 in me in the family. Count them. The 5 closest people in your family, and you all look up and go, yeah, fat. That skinny one, she's an anomaly. She got the skinny genes from only God knows where. Or is she really family? Make her take the 23andMe test. So anyway, I need to send this in. Anybody going to Miami soon, let me know. I'll give you my 23andMe test to send in for me. Chantel says the Jamaican flight didn't come at all. Nope, it's coming today. Louis says a Saab is a good airplane. I want one for next Christmas. As you all know, community makes country better. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Nosa? Hey, Ingrid, where have you been? Carol says, I don't see anybody until they've had their 5-day LFT if they have traveled. I think that's a good standard. So you went home for Christmas, Ingrid? She's on day 2 days, 5 days, and 10 days test since I've arrived. Thank God my son and I negative had to pay $25 per each time. Well, listen, now that y'all are traveling, you have to budget for these sort of things in addition to your travels. So you know your budget for your hotel, your ticket, your transportation. Well, you also need to now budget for your LFTs and stuff and your PCR tests and whatever else you need. So it is what it is. All right. So we're just about, we are out of time already. Oh my gosh. So we'll try to find out what's going on with Kim and Aries. Somebody sent me a little tip, and I don't know if any of this is true, but let me tell you, I'm going to give it to you as cheap as I got it. And this is really cheap. So the person said to me that they believe, this is what they said about Kim and Aries. They said new Max is coming soon, and the Dash 8s, that's the Max, for Cayman Brack and Little Cayman, heard that they're getting rid of the Saab and the Twin Otters. But then I thought that's weird, because don't you need the Saab or the Twin Otters to go to Little Cayman? The Max 8 can't go to Little Cayman. They don't have the runway for that. So I thought that that was kind of weird. So they said the Dash 8s and Air Jamaica use them and can carry. Oh, I guess the Dash 8 isn't the Max. I was thinking 737-8, but I guess the Dash 8 is something else. I don't know what the Dash 8 is. But Air Jamaica uses them, and they can carry 37 seats instead of 15, and can land on both airways. So the Dash 8, that Dash 8-100 has 37 seats. So anyway, I don't know if any of that's true. I'm going to try to find out. I'll check some Cayman Airways sources, see if they can tell me, yay, nay, whatever. But it looks like Cayman Airways might be kind of changing out planes and that sort of thing. But yes, Magdalene, good advice. Budget, not just for your LFT testing, but what if you test positive and then you have to quarantine? You better budget for food and all your quarantine essentials. And if you test negative wherever you travel, that happened to our friend Michael Ventura. He washes our cars every week. Michael got stuck in Miami an additional time because he tested positive on his flight to come back to Cayman. And you can't come back. You got to stay in Miami. And if you don't have friends and stuff in Miami, boy, that's a hotel for another how many days until you can test negative? Ooh-wee. Woosah. Folks, let's end on a little bit of positivity today. Oh, first of all, before we get to the positive stuff, will you jackasses of the day please kindly, I'm asking you, stop parking in handicapped spots. Now look at this one. I don't know where his license plate is. That's another question. Driving a Jeep, and there's a spot there, but he's going to park in the middle, blocking partially the handicap spot and then the other parking spot. Why? You couldn't park straight? You couldn't just move over into the 1 hour parking and whatever that is? Come on, man. Now, I'm not saying I'm the world's best driver, so if I park crooked, I pull back out and I reverse back in and straighten my bonky up. What do this one? This is just rude. And you know, the thing is, there are people who actually utilize the handicap spots, folks, believe it or not. And I always have them say to me, Sandy, do these people not think that one day they might need a handicap spot? And when they see someone doing this and being rude, it's like, come on. Not only is it an offense to do this, the police should be ticketing you, and I hope somebody knows who owns this blue Jeep, but it is just wrong on so many different levels. Do not park in handicap parking. It is not for you. Cha. All right. So thanks for Mel just for sharing this. Look at this. Are these those little whistling birds? What are they called? Whistling ducks or something? Is that not gorgeous? The ducks are enjoying a moment on the hammock. Oh, what a life. we should all take a moment and follow what the ducks are doing. Just hang out in the hammock and relax, de-stress. It's Monday. Yes. One time the commissioner said that he would use photos to be able to catch some of these violators, but I don't think they're doing that because these violators would be more cognizant of what they've been up to. Indian whistling ducks. Thank you, Carol. Losing more and more habitat. Love them. Oh, they're so cute. So we're going to post that up on CMR. Go like it. I think it's a cute video. And yes, you know, when you create spaces sometimes like part of your outdoor living, that nature comes to you. I told y'all my husband has a garden, which, by the way, yesterday he had so much broccoli that he picked and gave to his friend. I was thinking to myself, is his friend on a broccoli diet? Because that's a lot of broccoli. I don't know. But he picked a lot of broccoli. I'll post that up later as well. A couple of heads of broccoli. I see him with some cabbage out in the garden. We're going to do a garden show one day soon. But he has a bird. He has a little bird house out there. So he's feeding the birds. I think he said he needed some new bird feed. I wonder if he got any. Anyway, he's feeding the birds. And somebody got him for Christmas a little water table for the birds. So he just leaves water in there and then the birds can get a bath and stuff. And it's so nice to just sit in his little chair out back and, you know, watch nature come to you and the birds singing. And, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate the love and support. Janet says we can buy COVID insurance, which covers your expenses if you get stuck quarantining in another country. Now, Janet, is that buying it overseas in Cayman? Where are you buying it? I'm curious if we have COVID insurance here. Because I don't know if we're doing that here. Is that a thing? I'm trying to find out. All right, beautiful people. It's Monday. We got a lot to do. Yesterday, I spent, in Canada. Thank you for clarifying that. So I spent a lot of time yesterday meeting with a lawyer friend going over my case that I'm going to be appealing. And boy, I felt like I was in law school all again with the little Post-it notes and printing off cases and highlighting. And, you know, I was like, oh, God. So, folks, in May, if all goes well, I will be standing up in front of the Court of Appeal because I can't afford no lawyer to do it. So I will be standing up in front of a Court of Appeal challenging the decision in the Matthew Leslie case. And I tend to give it 100%. I'm no lawyer, but I'm going to hopefully put together, you know, I've got to do my legal arguments and whatever, and I'm going to do my best. That's all I can tell you. I'm going to do my best, and then it'll be a 3-judge panel, I'm sure. And we'll see what happens from there. But I think this decision was questionable on a number of different levels. So I've got my legal reasons, my legal grounds, 4 grounds that I will be appealing on. And then we will take it from there. We'll see. All they can say is yes or no. All they can do is potentially quash the conviction. They can tell them to retry it. And then we start all over again. And this time there will be some differences coming if there is a retrial. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen up in here? All right, beautiful people. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am looking for, 2022 for me is all about positivity. I'm feeling fantastic. I'm just feeling so good about this year. And I think everybody needs to start it off, even if it doesn't end on a positive note, start it off on a positive note. And, you know, your attitude can make the world a difference in terms of what's going to happen in your life. And I'm naming it. I'm naming it. Let me say that clearly. And I am claiming it. I sent my girlfriend a message the other day and she's like, girl, I want some of whatever you're eating for breakfast. She's like, that message was so positive. You guys have a beautiful day.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.